Are you a basketball player that wants to be a better playmaker for your team? Becoming a playmaker is a subtle yet important shift in the way you play the game of basketball. It's critical for your team's success, and it's also important for how your coach views you as a basketball player. Let me tell you, coaches love playmakers. So today, I'm going to share 3 things that you can do in order to become a better playmaker for your team. Let's jump in and discuss. Welcome back to Hard Smart Together. I'm Coach Dave. I'm here every week to help basketball players become the smart, confident players that coaches love. And speaking of coaches loving players, they love playmakers. And that's why we're talking about it today. And that's why I'm going to give you 3 ways as a basketball player to become a better playmaker. The game of basketball, what do I mean by playmaker? The game of basketball is really a game of advantage versus disadvantage. And what do I mean by advantage versus disadvantage? I mean, going from 5-on-5 to 4-on-3 to 3-on-2 to 2-on-1. All of those are advantages for the offense. And in the game of basketball, it's just a constant shift of the offense having the advantage or the defense having the advantage, right? And so how can you create those advantages as a basketball player? Let me tell you, every offense out there ever created in the game of basketball is designed to create an advantage for the offense and to get an easier score for the team. So if you want to be one of those valuable players to your team and to your coach, the type of player that they don't want to take out of the game, you can now think of how can I be a better playmaker in addition to how the offense might be doing it. How can I be a better playmaker for my team and get easier scores for my team? So before I get into those 3 ways that you can become a better playmaker, I do want to share a free gift with you. I always share a free gift just for listening and just for joining me on the video today. So today is no different. I have a checklist of 8 skills that coaches love to see in players. These are things that you can work on and you can implement to really shine in front of coaches. And if you want to be one of those smart, confident players that coaches love, you'll download this free checklist. So you can simply scan the QR code below. I'll put a link in the description below, or if you're on the podcast or just listening, you can go to hardsmarttogether.com/intangibles. Again, it's hardsmarttogether.com/intangibles, and I'll get you that free checklist. So, becoming a better playmaker, what are these 3 ways, simple ways, but ways that you can really become a better playmaker, and that subtle shift from being maybe a great scorer to being a great playmaker for your team? The first one, we were talking just a couple of weeks ago about, we're in off season, we're in summertime, and a lot of you guys are looking to improve your shot. So we were talking about ways that you could become more efficient with your shooting workout and really work on becoming a better shooter. And that is one of the ways that you can become a better playmaker as well, by becoming a better shooter. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, wait a second, becoming a better shooter just makes me a better scorer. How does that make me a better playmaker? Well, a really important part of being a playmaker, of creating that advantage for your team, creating that numbers advantage for your team, and engaging multiple defenders comes from being a threat on offense. So let's go through you being a great shooter. If you're a great shooter, the defensive player that's guarding you needs to get a little closer. They need to be ready to close out. They need to be ready to contest a shot. They can't just sit back and, help everybody else and just kind of, play center field, waiting for you to do whatever you're going to do with the ball, drive, whatever. They have to really kind of get in a more dangerous defensive positioning by getting a little closer to you. So now if you're also a great shooter and if they think that you're a threat to shoot, something as simple as something I've talked about in the past, a glance at the rim or a little pump fake. Now they have to get even closer. They might come out and contest. They might lunge at you, right? Because you're a threat as a shooter. If you're a threat as a shooter, now they get out of defensive position and now you can more easily make a strong drive by them. And by doing so, the help defenders have to be aware and they come over and now you've engaged your primary defender as well as help defenders. And they might need to come completely and guard you. They might just draw that help defender out of position from their player and allow, your teammate to either backdoor or get an open shot or whatever the case might be. But by engaging at least two defenders and by being under control with your drive, you have now created a temporary advantage for your team. If the second, third defenders don't come over, maybe you have a drive that gets you into the basket and gets you an easy bucket. But regardless, if you engage defenders as a playmaker, if you're that threat, now when you kick out the ball or make a pass to a teammate or whatever the case might be, when you get it out of that engaged moment, you've created an advantage. Automatically, if you guys were 5-on-5, automatically, with two people guarding you now, you've created a 4-on-3. Now your team has an advantage, and maybe they take that and get a simple score. Maybe they take that 4-on-3 and create other advantages as playmakers. So by being a great shooter, by working on your shot and thinking of it in that way, not just thinking, oh, my shot's just going to get me scores. My shot's just going to get me shots. Your shot can get your team easy scores. That's a subtle shift from, oh, I'm a great shooter and so I shoot, to I'm a great shooter and therefore I'm going to be a playmaker. If they're laying off me, yeah, I can take a shot. But my shot, when I make it, is going to get them closer and closer to me. Now they have to be aware of me. Now they have to worry about me. And my job is to engage multiple defenders and to get an easy score for my team. So the first way you can become a better playmaker is by becoming a better shooter. The second way is an extension of that, but a thought process. I want you on drives to think of a goal of getting into the paint under control. Now that's a subtle difference. I'm not talking about getting into the paint and just to score and leaving your feet and, having no ability to make decisions once you get into the paint. But if you drive to the paint, if you're concentrating and focusing on getting into the paint under control, the paint is the most dangerous place for the ball to any defense. Okay? So, if the paint's the most dangerous place the ball can be for any defense, what happens? Other defenders have to engage with you. They have to collapse in on you. Your ability to get into the paint, your ability to drive to the paint under control will engage multiple defenders. And if you get deep enough into the paint under control, sometimes it's not just two defenders that you engage, sometimes it's three, sometimes it's four. Sometimes every defender on the court is turned around, not viewing their man, and therefore creating an advantage for your team. If you're under control, you can either, maybe you score once you get to the paint. You've got to drive with the ability to score in the paint, but a lot of times it's for a kick, for a pass, a backdoor pass, for a baseline pass, whatever the case might be, for a lob. You're just creating that temporary advantage for your team, because once the ball leaves your hands, once you're into the paint, your teammates have an advantage. You're helping to create an easy score for your team. You need to drive into the paint, not just thinking, I'm going to score for myself. You need to drive into the paint thinking, I'm going to get my team an easy score. So that's the second way that you can become a better playmaker. What's the third way? Great playmakers recognize that the simplest time to engage multiple defenders is on the break. So I want that subtle shift to happen when you're on the break as well. Yes, I want you to attack with the option for you to score, but I want you to attack with the mentality, I'm going to get my team an easy score. So you always want to attack on the break. Unless your coach is telling you not to for some reason, but for the basis of becoming a great playmaker, you want to attack your primary defender on the break, and therefore then that's the time that the defense is the most disorganized. People are trying to figure out what player they're picking up. You know, they're disorganized, they're not in a stance, they're not all back, and this is an awesome time for you to create an advantage for your team by attacking a defender, and there a second defender or a third defender has to come and engage with you. It's the simplest time to be a playmaker and to create an easy score for your team. Remember, the secret of being a playmaker is engaging multiple defenders and creating a temporary advantage for your team, creating a numbers advantage, taking 3-on-3s and making them, 2-on-1s, taking 4-on-4s and making them 3-on-2s or 3-on-1s, taking 5-on-5s and making them 4-on-3s or 4-on-2s, depending on how dangerous you are. So those are 3 ways that you can become a better playmaker. Become a better shooter. Concentrate on getting into the paint under control, and attack defenders on the break when the defense is the most disorganized. And then shift, that subtle shift from I'm going to score to I'm going to get this easiest score for my team, for my teammates. Okay? You may just find yourself scoring more because as you start giving easy shots for your teammates, now a simple little pass fake and these defenders that have collapsed on you start leaving to go to your passes, and you find yourself all alone. So it can also help you become a better scorer. But this subtle mindset shift from I'm going to score to I'm going to get an easy score for my team by being a playmaker will really stand out to your coach. And you'll find yourself on the floor more often because coaches love playmakers. So that's your tips for today. 3 ways that you can be a better playmaker. Hopefully that was useful. As always, love the likes of the videos. If you know a player, a coach, a parent, anybody that would like to hear this video or you think could use this video, please forward it on to them. And until next week, remember to play hard, play smart, and play together. I'll see you next week.